Another day at SMA, another Chevrolet AFM engine. It's a 2013. It's got the active fuel management, the big 5.3. This thing's only got 100 and some thousand, 113,000 I think he's at right now. These engines are a huge pile of poo. Anybody that knows anything about these GMs and their active fuel management crap that they put on there, same thing with the Chryslers. Any of these active fuel management engines, even Hondas, they all have the same problem. They start sucking oil on those cylinders. So you have to carry out your yearly maintenance, if you will, on these, which includes replacing the spark plug that follows up, because the ultimate fix for this thing, to keep these things from sucking copious amounts of oil, is to rebuild the engine. Or at least the cylinders that have all the, the rings stuck, and put all the updates in it to keep it from burning oil, or do an AFM delete on it, which includes camshaft lifters, things like that. So if they're not burning oil, they're going to break a lifter and get to misfire, and so they're junk all the way around. And that's not just giving Chevy hate; it's just a matter of a fact. Anybody who owns these knows it. Everybody's quite familiar with it. If you're not, and you don't believe me, just Google it. Google active fuel management engines. I mean, so much so that when you buy a new one from Jasper, they give you the option: do you want it deleted or not? And then one thing I would say based on that, let's say you have one of these. I have a customer that has one of these. It was relatively new. I mean, like less than 10,000 miles on it, and he deleted it electronically. Made it so the AFM wouldn't engage, it wouldn't go into 4-cylinder mode, thinking that it would preserve the vehicle from being broke. But it didn't quite make it to 100,000 miles. It still broke a lifter, and had to have the engine tore down. So I got to pull the heads and everything to put a lifter in one. But he does not have the oil burning problem. So I guess it's kind of a good and a bad. Anyhow, this one's here because it's been a little over a year since it's had its spark plug changed, and it's developed a number 1 cylinder misfire. This guy's elected to put a few spark plugs in it every year or 2 years, however long it'll go before it eats up a spark plug, oil fouls and cracks. And that's what I advise some of my customers do, particularly in the Northeast. This truck, being a 2013, is just a couple years away from being recycled into a new Chevrolet. So this is what customers will do. It's nonsense to rebuild the engine on these in the Northeast. Spark plugs are cheap. Let me show you how to take care of your maintenance on your Chevy. Hopefully after saying all that, I'm correct. So he's been having a problem. How do you know what the problem is? So cylinders 1, 4, 6, and 7, I think, are the AFM cylinders. If you get it in and it has a misfire on any of those, you can almost count on it having an oil fouled spark plug. These spark plugs only have, goodness gracious, Eric, how tight did you make that thing? I don't know how many miles he has on these. Not a lot since they were put in. So what we're going to do is just do the one spark plug tune-up. Typically the porcelain is broke on these. The oil fouled to the point the porcelain breaks. Let me get a smaller ratchet here. And then they start developing misfires. So he's been having his engine light come on and go off and flash a little bit, and it's off right now. But I looked at my history when I did this vehicle, and it was the number 1 spark plug. Yes, sir. And this baby's all caked up with oil. It's got the crusties on it. And we're going to put a spark plug in it and get it taken care of. And the only reason I make this video is because I want people to see that option. Because you might be at a shop and you're like, your spark plugs were broke on, 1 and 7, or number 7's all fouled up and cracked, and the porcelain's missing, and it's you need a new engine. If you're running your car on borrowed time anyways, just put a couple spark plugs in it. Sometimes I have some customers I only see every 2 years, or once a year at the most, and it's way cheaper for a spark plug than it is to rebuild the engine when the car has an ultimate doom. So just something to think about. Let me go get another spark plug. So I'm curious on this one, because he said his light had been on, but today it was running pretty smooth. You probably won't be able to see it in there, but as I look down into the porcelain, so you can see back here near the grounding electrode, a little clump of oil soot that's in there. So oil will typically, on the spark plug, it'll turn white and ashy, and it'll oftentimes build all the way up around here. It's just be a big hump on here. And I can see, looking down into the porcelain, you guys probably won't be able to see, but I can see down in there like a pretty good ring of the white oil deposit that was stuck on there, and I'm wondering if a big chunk of it fell off and then it, fixed itself temporarily. I don't really know. All I know is, its history code is a 301. When I look back in the past, that's what it was also. So this is what we're doing. Here's our brand new Sparky. It's your classic 41 162 napper. Of course, I've already gapped it naturally. So we'll get that started. We're going to get it started with our magnetic spark plug socket from Snap-on, not a sponsor. Don't tighten down spark plugs with this thing. You will crack them suckers every single time. Not every time, but most of the time. We're going to use just a standard 5/8. Whoa, almost dropped it. So there's that. I'm going to turn the camera off. We'll get a torque wrench. We'll come back, torque that to factory specs. Stick our plug wire back on there. New little bit of dielectric grease in both of them so you can get them off next time you need to get them off. And that's it, folks. That's how to keep your AFM Chevy going. Now she's running smooth as butter. Step 2 in the process is clear your codes. Clear your misfire code. Go into your live data. Find your misfire stuff. Have a gander at it. Make sure that we have no other cylinders misfiring. And we don't. She's happy. I'm happy, you're happy, and this guy will get another year out of his truck. What's up?
Going to the post office.
Well, you gotta get to the post office.
I gotta take mail to the post office, and I don't really need any of the bills, but they probably need me.
Don't we all, Mrs. O? Don't we all? So that's it, folks. It's not the cure-all, end-all solution, but it is a solution to a problem that these engines have, and it's a good solution in our part of the country because we live in the Salt Belt. 2013, it don't have long left, if any. I didn't look underneath it, but hopefully this will get the guy going for another year or two, and perhaps at that point he's onto a different truck, or it's broken half and sitting down at Wilbert's you pull out a bath. If you live in a part of the country where you don't use salt and you can actually drive your truck for more than 10 years, then this may not be the best solution for you. What's ultimately going to happen is it's going to continue to burn oil on the 4 cylinders, or at least that cylinder, and eventually it's going to take out the catalytic converter. So at that point, if this customer came in with a PO 420 or 430, I'm going to verify how much oil this thing's burning. Usually your customer will tell you, yeah, I add 2 quarts or 3 quarts every 5,000 miles. And at that point, I wouldn't sell them a catalytic converter because I don't want it to come back and haunt me, and I know for a fact it won't last more than 3 to 6 months before it burns up that converter again. So big picture, the real fix is to replace the engine or rebuild it to stop it from burning oil, fix all the AFM problems that GM has that they will tell you about in service bulletins, and they tell you how to fix it. They won't foot the bill on it, but they'll tell you how bad they screwed up. And then, at that point, delete it possibly. These things are trash, folks. I'm not just hating Chevys. So we'll just leave it at that. Use your noodle. Do it this way if you want to get another year or two and you're going to send it to the crusher. You want to fix it for real? Fix it for real. And I just want you to be for real in that comment section. Questions, comments, the Insta, the Facebook. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.